What's up, you buttercups? It's your friendly neighborhood BurialBoy back today with episode 2 for our kindergartens class. Today we're talking about Gambit. We're going to go over everything you need to know about this game mode, what the objective is, a couple tips and tricks here and there, and just kind of give you an overall feel for what you're going to get yourself into, hopping into it. But really quickly, if you like these videos, if you want to see more of the kindergarten class videos, or if you just want to help support the channel, dropping a like down below is greatly appreciated and helps me more than I think you understand. Subscribe if you really like the content. Hit the bell icon so you make sure you don't miss any of the future updates and videos. We're going to keep you up to date on everything Destiny 2 here. We're going to keep the tips and tricks and guides and some funny stuff along the way just to give you guys some laughs. But first, if you're looking to give yourself a little bit of an extra edge, kind of get some of that extra focus with something really delicious and actually really worth the price, click the link down below. Use the code MAW10 to get yourself some MAW energy. I'm telling you right now, I'm drinking it right now as I'm editing this. But anyway, let's get into it. Gambit. This is a PvE/PvP mode that was brought in with the Forsaken DLC. This one's actually one of my favorites. A lot of people don't care for it, but a lot of people really do. It's a hit or miss. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. There is a lot of benefits to playing it, but realistically, like I said, you're not going to miss out from not playing it, but you will benefit from playing it. One of the benefits being that if you play 4 matches, whether it be Gambit or Gambit Prime, every week you will get a piece of Pinnacle gear. We'll go over Pinnacle gear later on in another video, a little bit more in depth. We want to talk about leveling and trying to power level yourself up, but once you're getting into the higher power ranks, Pinnacle gear is absolutely crucial. So having that extra slot, having that extra availability for getting Pinnacle gear is fantastic and really convenient. But I digress. Gambit is a matchmaking 4v4 game mode, and there are 2 modes in Gambit. There's Gambit, which is just 2 rounds, plain and simple. 2 rounds, bank your motes, kill your Primeval. Whoever beats 2 Primevals first wins. Gambit Prime, slightly different, a little bit quicker, a little bit more intense. It is 1 round, same concept, bank your motes, kill the Primeval. But there are some stipulations to that, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth into that right here.
Enough fooling around.
So, Gambit is a very interesting little game mode here. As you see right there, there's a little clip I threw in there. That is the Drifter. He is the one who hosts the Gambit matches. And personally, I love Drifter. I think he's a really unique, really cool character. Kind of has that, like, really shady Han Solo kind of vibe. Definitely shadier than Han Solo, but regardless, the same kind of feel. You know, the kind of rough smuggler who doesn't mind doing things he shouldn't be doing to get what he wants. He's a really cool character. But Drifter hosts the Gambit matches on his ship. When you load up, you're going to load into 2 fire teams of 4, and you're going to meet up briefly for a second and a little face-off. It's kind of neat. You'll hear the Drifter talk about whatever enemy it is you're going to be facing, whatever enemy type. He'll tell you a little secret something about that enemy, and then you will be teleported into identical arenas. And your objective here is fairly simple. You're going to kill enemies that are going to drop Motes of Dark, and you're going to pick up those Motes of Dark and deposit them to the bank in the center of your arena. You can hold up to 15 Motes at a time. Every time you deposit Motes into the bank, depending on the amount that you dropped, you'll send a blocker to the other team's arena, which will block their bank, forcing them to kill those blockers before they can bank any more motes. The objective here, bank 75 motes, and once you bank 75 motes, you will summon a Primeval, and you kill the Primeval. First to kill the Primeval wins the round, or in the case of Gambit Prime, first to kill the Primeval wins the match. To go into more depth, first of all, motes. Those are kind of your staple point. These are the main things you're going to be going after, at least initially. Motes are going to drop. They're very noticeable. These bright white, very bright glowing little pyramids, almost. Little triangles you'll see laying all over the ground. They'll pop out of enemies, in a sense, after you kill them. They'll even show up on your mini-map just like this. But most enemies, most of your red bars, will drop 1 mote. Now once you start getting to a little tougher enemies, some will drop 2, 3, things like Hydra, things like stronger Gorn enemies. They'll drop 3, 4, even more sometimes. And then there are things called high value targets that will appear, and the Drifter will announce them when they appear. Now they don't always appear where the enemies are showing up on your maps. Sometimes they're going to be off and all in a corner by themselves, but they're very noticeable because it'll be a regular enemy, but they'll be glowing bright white, and they'll be dropping motes left and right. Now, as far as motes go, as I said before, you can hold no more than 15, and when you deposit them into the bank, you will send a blocker to the other side, to your opposing team's side. Now, at 5 motes, you'll send a small blocker, which essentially is normally a red bar taken Vex. Something can be taken out fairly quickly, but it does temporarily stop them from depositing motes. At 10 motes, you'll send a medium blocker. And then at 15 motes, you'll send a large blocker. Sounds pretty self-explanatory, but it really has to be at those exact numbers. If you deposit 7 motes, you're still going to get a small blocker. If you deposit 12 motes or 13 motes, you're still going to deposit a medium blocker. So you have to keep that in mind. I generally will more times than not do my very best to save up to 15, and realistically it's not that hard to get to, besides the fact you will have a lot of people that will take the motes from the enemies you're killing. But at the end of the day, it's a team event, so as long as you're as a team working together, you should be just fine. Now you got to remember, the opposing team is going to be trying to do the exact same thing you are doing. It may not be always apparent, but when you start hearing blockers coming into your bank, it's going to start becoming really obvious that you need to be more aware. Now, the Drifter is very good about announcing pretty much everything that goes on in Gambit. But I say that because one thing you need to know, and it is crucially important, if you die while carrying any amount of motes, you will drop every single one of them. And a teammate can't pick them up, you can't go run back and pick them up. If you die holding motes before depositing them, you lose them. That's it. I understand wanting to save up, but if you feel like you're in a stressful situation that you may not be able to make it to get to 15 motes, it's definitely much more worth it to send that medium blocker at 13 motes than try and risk it for 2 and lose all of them.
All right, Mavericks. Ready to see what you're fighting today? Scorn approaching.
Now, at 25 and 50 motes deposited, a portal will open up, allowing an invader to come into your area and try to hinder your progress. Also allowing a portal on your end to open up for you to send an invader over to the other team's side. Now, you can go over there, and when you hop in through this portal, I gotta be honest, this is my most favorite part of Gambit, is the invading. When you hop in, all the enemies, all the normal ads completely ignore you, 100%, and you have full visibility of where each and every one of those team members are at all times. Their tags, their PSN, their gamer tags, their Steam name, whatever, it will all be visible on screen. You'll see it immediately. And you'll have a little bit of an overshield when you spawn in. The downside, yeah, it sounds like a lot of upside so far. The downside is you will be announced to the other team. You will have a clock that runs, I think it's a 30-second timer, as well as you will be glowing bright red, which makes you a little bit more easily visible to the other team. And now you have your allotted amount of time to do as much damage to the other team as you can, and you will be sent back either after your time limit is up, after you are killed, or after you've killed the entire team. And that's when things get really, really fun. Like I said, that's my most favorite part about Gambit and Gambit Prime, is invading. I know that makes me a total douche, but I gotta admit, it's an absolute blast. It's too much fun. And then moving forward from there, after 75 motes are deposited, your bank will drop down into the ground and a large taken boss will appear. And it's at random which taken boss, which taken enemy that's going to be. They will also spawn with wizards. Now the wizards you're not required to kill in Gambit to damage the boss, but it does benefit you to kill these wizards, also known as envoys. It is definitely beneficial to kill them because you'll get a slight buff, as in helping you defeat your Primeval. Now also during this time, you'll see that the portal opens up for both you and your enemies to go invade the other side. If you kill an enemy guardian while they have a Primeval summoned, that Primeval will regain some health. So you're actually doing quite a bit of a hindrance towards the enemy team by invading and taking them out, preferably taking out their entire squad. But at the same time, that means that's something you have to keep in mind of. If you have a Primeval summoned, and you see the alarms go off, your screen goes red, and Drifter has announced an invader is in your area, you really need to make it your priority to either stay completely hidden from that invader, making sure he cannot kill you, or make it your priority to take that invader out as quickly as possible. But then, the first person to destroy their Primeval wins that round. And in Gambit there will be 2 rounds. The first person to do that twice wins. Now in Gambit Prime, it's essentially the same concept, but with some slight differences. The main differences being, instead of 2 rounds, there is 1, as well as the invasion times are a lot more frequent. You'll see a lot more invaders, and you'll also see a lot more opportunity to invade. Next really big difference is in the Primeval. Once you summon your Primeval, you will have envoys that will appear, and they will also be marked on your map and on screen by icons. The difference here is, in order to damage your Primeval, you have to destroy all the envoys, and on the last envoy you destroy, you will see an aura that will drop to the ground, where it will empower your light to give you a damage buff against the boss. At that point, once the last envoy is destroyed, and then you'll be able to take a damage phase onto the taken boss.
Alright. Let's see what we've got. Fallen on the horizon.
Now, as far as a few tips to help you along your way in Gambit, the first thing I would highly recommend is really paying attention to your loadout. Personally, I'll either be running a xenophage, making it easier for me to kind of clip off guardians when I invade at a distance, or even to kind of clip them off at a distance when they're invading me. Something like that, or I'll run my hammerhead. Any type of relatively slow firing, high damage machine gun seems to really be a lot more beneficial. Your heavy ammo will take you a lot further that way. You can run rockets, and I've done so. You're going to see a lot of people that do, because it's almost a guaranteed shot, but you'll normally only have 1 or 2, more times than not. And I also see a lot of people run swords. If that's your preference, have at it. But I find more times than not, I have a lot more success in both damage output towards our Primeval, as well as damage output towards other guardians with a machine gun. And another tip that seems to help a lot, area of effect. Weapons and abilities seem to do a lot, because you're able to do a lot more damage towards more adds, which also helps your other teammates, making clearing out these really big packs of them a lot easier, a lot more beneficial, and you can take those out and get lots of motes really quick. Another good thing to keep in mind is to really be aware and listen to the Drifter's announcements. Essentially, the Drifter is going to announce pretty much everything that's going to happen in game. He'll even announce whenever you have a teammate going over to invade, and when they return, and with how many kills. And really the next thing I can tell you that's really going to matter is find your playstyle. Everyone's kind of got their own playstyle. Some people like to invade more, some people like to do a lot of DPS and collect motes and bank super quick. Some people like to kind of play defensive and watch out for invaders and like focus more on the blockers. You just gotta figure out which part of the match you really like more. There's no real set roles, but what it really comes down to is your play style, and if you're having fun doing what you're doing. But guys, that's gonna about wrap us up for today. Let me know down in the comments, which part of the team in Gambit do you think you're gonna enjoy the most? Do you think you're really gonna enjoy taking out ads real quick and collecting motes, banking them hardcore? Are you gonna play more defensively, or are you really gonna take part in the kind of PvP aspect of it and really revel in embracing the darkness and invading the other team? That's my personal favorite. But I'd like to know what you guys think down below, and I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Drop a like down on the video, that would be fantastic. It helps me tremendously. And if you want to see more of this and you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any more of these kindergarten classes that we have coming. I've got a lot on the way, and we're going to keep this going all the way through Beyond Light. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by. And remember, life's a grave. Just dig it.